Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on another edition of Deportes Nation. I'm Alex Parra, and beside me, a very special guest, Houston Texans player, Mr. Roy Lopez. First of all, Roy, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm awesome. Doing great.
Roy, let's go back a little bit. We're so proud of you being a Houston Texan. I know you grew up in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us a little bit about your family. If I'm not mistaken, at some point, your dad, your father, was your coach.
Yes, so growing up, my family's real. They're either a football coach or the police officer or they're both. So they both come from both sides of my families come from small towns in Arizona, Superior, Arizona, Kearney, Arizona. So just kind of now, fast forward to where I'm at, it's crazy and they kind of, my grandparents, my nana and tata kind of sit there like, wow, like what they don't understand, sometimes, but yeah, growing up, I wrestled since a young age, and parents were always on me about discipline and playing sports. And I have two older sisters, and they were just as tough on me as my parents were. So I give credit to them for raising me. And I started playing football age 8 or 9, and yeah, growing up, my dad was my football coach. He was my high school football coach,
Wow.
and yeah, so he he taught me a lot. My uncles, my tios were my football coach as well. One tio was my offensive line coach. My other tio was my defensive line coach. So, when I had to make the decision whether I'm gonna play offense or defense in college, there was a little argument they had, and now that I made it here, the defensive line coach still was I told you so, I told you so. So he takes pride in being right.
Roy, like many of us with Mexican roots, with Latino roots, our family is huge. And you've mentioned it, and I'd read a little bit about the influence of your family. In many ways, though, their work, the work of our families is really your success, our success. I'm sure you look at it that way. All the time, energy they put into it, and now their dream, our dream, has come true through you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. It's 100%. That's the truth. And I always give credit to them whenever I do things like this. I can't help but say, because I have, no other choice but to say thank you. And I often, since college, I've told them, I'm just the face. You guys are the ones that have gotten me here. And but when I, go out there and I make a play, like, it's because you guys taught me at such a young age, to how to do things, and just to be able to share the love and, appreciation we have for one another, with the locker room. And some of these guys don't understand, how, Latino family works and how much love we and how close we are, so them seeing them at games. And, my dad coaches Friday nights and catches a plane Saturday, watches a game Sunday, flies back Sunday night, work Monday. My mom's the same way. My sister's the same way, so the fan base here has grown to love my family as well, taking pictures with them at the game, and because they know they're loud, they cheer loud, and they just have so much love and appreciation. So just being able to share that with everybody has been awesome.
Roy, your story to me epitomizes where we are as society in general, and it's not just because it's Hispanic Heritage Month, but us Latinos being multicultural, being multilingual. I think it's who we are today. You're in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the country. I live all my life in English and Spanish, with our culture, with our food, with everything, with our music. I feel this is a really special moment for all of us, especially in sports. And you as a pioneer, beyond kickers, that we've had Latino kickers in the NFL, how does that make you feel? I'm sure you're just energized, I hope, every day when you get up and you go to training.
Right. It's something that kind of, is always, right behind me, and when I walk out to this fan base, it's crazy because they appreciate it, and it's awesome. The moment I got drafted, I was like, man, I'm going to Houston, and I know, growing up and just hearing about Houston, you hear about how much, Latino culture is in this city, so the moment I got drafted, it was, Mexico flags and, thank you so much and congratulations. And it's been nothing but love, and it's exciting to be able to, to play for the Texans and be part of a, organization that has a fan base like that. So it's nuts. My family's still trying to get used to it too. So I don't think we'll ever get used to it. Just, but just try to keep doing my job and appreciate everybody. And, so.
Well, you sound very humble, sir, and you are a role model in many ways, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Talk to us about your team and being on the field. Every game has been close so far, not a win yet. But specifically, how do you defensively get along with Coach Levy? Obviously, he's got a huge experience. I'm sure you're learning every day from him and what the other defensive coaches are trying to teach you.
Right. He's got like you say, he's got huge experience. He's a guy that's been around for a long time, so it's awesome. It's a blessing to learn from a guy that's coached for so long because he's seen so many defensive linemen, the way they play, and kind of takes bits and pieces and tries to instill them in us and just being part of the group of guys that we have. Our defensive line, we have Jerry Hughes, who's played 13 seasons. That's crazy. And then you have Malik Collins, who's played 7. Just being able to learn from these guys and try to, steal knowledge off of them. So that way, when, use it in my play. And then once I'm done, I can kind of relay the message and, hopefully coach and just, just being able to learn every single day, and that's the biggest thing that I've taken from this journey is you never know it all. So don't act like it, because someone's going to correct you and it's yes, sir. And it's fun, have fun every day, and I think that's something that people have learned, throughout the building is I'm gonna come every day with a smile and appreciate every day. So,
for those of you that are just joining us, we have Mr. Roy Lopez from the Houston Texans with us here on Deportes Nation. Roy, you talk about lessons learned. Recently, I was watching a piece where you were mic'd up and being in this business, because it is the sports business. It's about many things. It's about your ability on the field. It's about personality. How are you balancing these things? And what are you learning that what kind of person do you want to be? Do you have to be in many ways? Does that question make sense?
Right. Yeah, 100%. It's pretty much as, your mark, what you leave is what people say about you, so that's something that, been instilled in me since a young age. And you ask people about my family, my mom, my dad, my tios, it's just, they'll tell you the same thing. They're respectful, they're loving, and they care for other people, so it's just kind of what I've been around. And it's just, I try to be myself every day, and smile through everything and try not to let, get too down on one another or even get too happy or get too high, and so it's something that I take pride on. And, I definitely love what I do. And George Strait has the lyric. He says, "Here for a good time, not a long time." So we kind of just live by that and keep going and rolling with the punches. So I'm blessed to be here.
You seem to enjoy also when you're successful on the field. It's become a trend, I guess. Your sack dance. Tell us about how that came about and obviously how it's continuing to be picked up by many people.
All right. So I was at New Mexico State for college, and there also is a huge Latino fan base. And so I was, after a sack, I wanted to start doing a celebration, and then I was just thinking, bouncing ideas off my family and kind of, I don't like that. I don't like that one. And so, one time I got up, I did a little salsa dance and everybody liked it, so they laughed the next day and they're like, "You got to work on it." I was like, I'll work on it. So it was embraced since the first time I did it. And the next thing I know, I'm a few sacks later in college, I'm still doing it. And it's fun, it's exciting to do. And now, I did it at this level, and now the fans have loved it, and it's grown to be a part of me. And every time they see me, they try to do the dance with me. So, people ask me to do it all the time.
Sure.
Every time I see somebody, can you do it? Can you dance? I'm like, I always tell them, I said, if you do it, if you do it, we can do it together, so then we'll be right in the middle of the sidewalk, doing it in public. But, that's probably one of the best things about, this job is the love and the appreciation that, I have for everybody and they have for me. So.
Roy, well, we'll be dancing alongside of you, hopefully. So many, many, many more sacks. Quickly about the team this year, sir. In transition in many ways, on and off the field, so close, so far in winning games. What do you think is going to now transition the team to become more of a competitive team and a team that many of us will continue to get behind, whether you win or lose? But obviously winning solves a lot of things.
Yes, sir, it does. Winning solves almost everything, so it's just attention to detail. It gets down to the little mistakes, and in this league you can't have little mistakes because the other team's going to take advantage of it. So that's the biggest thing at playing at this level is everybody's great. and every play counts, and every little detail, every technique you do, you can't take a play off. So just being able to rely on one another and build trust and understand it's going to take all 60 minutes, so that's what we got to do. And it goes back to being fundamentally sound, being in your gap, and making sure you get your job done for the whole game, if not more.
Two things, Roy, to close. One, I'm not going to ask you about your politics, but I'm sure, I would hope that the message for people out there is vote, regardless of what party or not. I think it's important that we have a voice. I'm not trying to be political at all, but maybe that's the message. Go out and vote, regardless of who you support. I think voting is important. This is my take on it. It's our voice in many ways.
Yeah, I agree. It's your voice, and vote for, who you want, and make sure you do your research and understand who you're voting for. But we all got to do our part, and we all have our part in society. So.
The last one, sir. There's many people that are watching this, young men, young women, in the state of Texas, of Arizona, of California, throughout the United States, in Mexico, that look up to you and say, wow, Roy Lopez. And he's not a kicker, and he's making a difference. No disrespect to kickers. I know many of them, by the way.
Yes,
I pretended to be one back in high school. But my point is, what message do you have for them? That may be the most important takeaway from this. You are a role model for many young men, young women, young people. What would you like to tell them? That's probably the biggest thing we can leave with today.
Yeah, as I look back on it, and the biggest thing that I could say that helped me was, I was appreciative of everybody, of all my time, and you have to put extra work in, not just the work you put it in school. You have to work out 3-4 times a day in high school, and it sounds crazy, but I was doing it, and I didn't, sometimes I didn't like it, but I look back on it and I appreciated it. I never complained too much, and just, I showed up and I did the work. And next thing you know, I got to college. It was a small school. I went to New Mexico State, and it didn't change there. I was out there by myself, but I was constantly working extra by myself, and talking to my family, and nothing, that didn't change. I leaned on them for everything, and I did countless hours on FaceTime with my family, and just, watching film with my dad. I still watch film with my dad, and, it's going to take everything in you. And just be appreciative and smile and have fun. And the love that you share with your family, try to reach it out to everybody. And you never know what life will take you. I'm sitting here 10 years later in the NFL playing for the Houston Texans. It's crazy. And doing this interview is everything's humbling. Every situation I have, every game, I take it on, and I'm humbled by everything. So, I'm thankful to be here and be able to do these things and say I'm a mentor and a role model, because, at the end of the day, I'm still doing what I was doing to get here. It's just extra work and being appreciative and, just taking one day at a time.
Roy, it's an honor. It's a pleasure to speak with you, sir. Hopefully we'll see each other in person soon, but great words there. And we really appreciate your time and all of your success. And we want to wish you continued success. We want to watch that sack dance many more times. Roy, thank you for being with us here on Deportes Nation. We appreciate it, sir. Good luck, and thank you again for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There you go. Roy Lopez here at Houston Texans on another edition of Deportes Nation.